KB joins us. Kevin Bartlett, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Peter. Looks like Corrigan's going to have a job of actually tagging Jose Ramiro today, and Colbert has picked up Chris Grant.
And Pickering on West.
Should be a great duel, that one. Bulldogs going to the right in the first quarter. No real wind advantage. Won by Wind. Smith got rolled. Riccardi, quick kick up towards centre half forward for the Cats. Krediok, great mark.
And Craig Ellis, the normal centre-half back for the Bulldogs, is on interchange, as in Luke Darcy. So certainly a bit of variation being employed here by Terry Wallace.
Wirra takes the mark. Now towards left centre wing. This is Brad Johnson, one of the Western Bulldogs' prime movers. Down to Grant. Another, of course, of their key players. Kick and a half from goal at least. He's well out on the half-forward flank. The umpire's now told him to play on. He'll be looking in the Cook direction. Cook, a little bit of body work there, but he didn't recover as well as he would have liked. He had the right position, and the ball taken over the boundary line for a throw in left forward pocket for the Western Bulldogs. On the bench, well, King was named there. We didn't expect him to line up there. Snell's there.
Ronnie Burns.
Brown and Burns.
And Milburn.
Mensch. Now there's a whistle on play here. It's going to be a Bulldogs free kick. Oh, gee, I didn't realise. And 50 metres. Wow. We may be able to pick it up on replay, but I certainly didn't looking through the glasses. Scotty Wine's going to have the shot at goal, and this will be the first score of the first goal of the match to the Bulldogs. He puts it through. You guys are going to tell me what that was for, aren't you?
Well, I'll guess it's a ruck infringement, seeing he's a ruckman. That's about the only thing I can add to the state as well. And the Geelong player kicked the ball away after the free kick, which is why the 50 metres eventuated as well. But yes, a flurry of action that I can't quite give a lot of information exactly what happened.
First blood to the Bulldogs. Scotty Wine won the toss and elected to kick to the RJ Hickey stand. Looks like maybe a 3-goal breeze. So they've started well. Liberatore on hands and knees, tried to shovel the ball out. Loose ball, here's the chance for Hocking. Liberatore was picking him up early in this first term. Looks like he's got the tag today. McGrath pumps the ball towards the half-forward line, and Hall, who's very strong overhead. The handball was poor. Pickering is appealing to the umpire for 50, and he's got it. In fact, he's just pulled Krediok back on the mark. So that's a mystery to me. Kilpatrick between wing and half forward. Kicks down towards the true centre half forward position. Coming out, trying to take a one-hander was Roberts, the youngster just in his second season for the Cats, Scotty West. Best on the ground last week. Pumps the ball wide, looking for Garlick. He's got McGrath beat at ground level. It's his territory. Garlick comes away with the ball on the edge of the centre square. It's a wobbly old kick. Looking for James Cook, got the kind bounce, rockets the ball back to Collingwood. He's kicked the most goals for the Bulldogs this year. He's got 8. Grant, make that Hudson, twisting and turning. Didn't quite hit the target. Great smother off the boot of Rowan Smith, taken by Collingwood. The Bulldogs continue to come forward. Another push out. It's the second time James Cook has done it. Got away with the first, not the second.
That was blatant. As Kev said, he did it earlier. Didn't recover from the first one. Well, recovery wasn't the issue there. The free kick was. So the Cats still do really get past the centre line. West now gets it back to Curley. Into the forward pocket. Could have been better delivered. Cook again. Missed it. Graham doesn't. Well delivered kick. Simpson in front of West takes the mark. That's looking to run it out. Colbert. Marking contest on centre wing. Hall was the target. Couldn't drag it down. Krediok had it, lost it. Geelong with a little bit more endeavour so far. Ball paddled out to Kilpatrick. He's gang tackled by 4 or 5 of them. A lot of weight being used in the packs. Is that in the back? No. Umpire lets it go. Riccardi, hand pass over the head of Liberatore. Kilpatrick, long hand pass. That's effective. Mensch on the end of it. Onto Lynch, who's got speed. Lynch. Beautiful pass into it, full forward. The umpire didn't play the mark. King was there. Mensch, Lynch, fumbles at the crucial moment. King goes at goal and misses by about a metre for Geelong's first score. Opportunities galore.
Well, I think, yes, 99 times out of 100, King would have been paid that. but the umpire called play on, and there was a flurry of possessions, and the behinds eventually resulted from the snap.
Tough call on King as Dent puts the ball straight over the line. Much to the joy of the Cats supporters.
And there are plenty of them, KB. Capacity crowd here today.
Simpson. Good 75 metres out from goal. Kicks the ball towards the goal square. It's going to drop short. Stonham was the high flyer. Just couldn't quite hang on to the Sherrin. Dimatina goes bang, crashes into Mensch, gives away the free kick. Too high. It was a silly free kick. There's Liam Pickering on screen. We'll had some bite today, and you can see Dimatina here just going too high on Mensch. Who came into the side against Richmond in round 2, played an outstanding game.
It's an interesting move, isn't this? Mensch into the ruck. He would have been not expected to line up in the ruck. King would have, but it's an interesting move by Gary Ayres.
Mensch from right on 50. This is going to be very close, right on the goal line, off hands.
The only logic in that is that maybe Mensch is more mobile and King around the ground. Certainly as in the ruck contest against Scott Wine, well, King would be much better equipped.
Well, Lee, what happened when King couldn't take his place against Sydney in the second game of the round against the Tigers, he played such a good game, they've probably got that in the back of their memory bank.
Quite possibly.
Dent looking to make amends after that poor kick earlier, finds Dimatina. Dimatina short of half-back. McGrath will punch over the head of Garlick. Did that effectively. Hand pass from King, intended for McGrath. Couldn't find it. Krediuk takes the hand pass at right centre wing. A lot of space on the Bulldogs forward line. Grant trying to run into it. Clever tap over to Cook. Should go from there and does. Great play from Chris Grant. And Cook didn't really try to bludgeon the kick, just steered it through, and the Bulldogs get their second.
Well, Cook got the goal because he just happened to be there, but Chris Grant sent it up. Krediuk saw that there was space in the forward line, kicked it into space. Grant knew there was no point taking possession. He was only going to be tackled, but the knock on to Cook was good constructive disposal, be it not a kick or a handball.
James Cook on screen. He's kicked his first goal. He's kicked 7 for the season. Yet to kick a behind. So the Cats by 10 points. Liberatore caught high. We take the free kick. Playing on Gary Hocking. Playing game number 201 today. Libba kicks the ball down towards centre-half forward, so it's a chance for the high flyers. The crumble was Collingwood. It's been in good touch, kicks the ball out wide. Been looking for Grant, leaves it for Smith right on 50. In fact, Grant got in his way, kicks the ball across the face of goals, pushing and shoving. It could have bounced through. It's hit the post.
It took a right turn and nearly did go through.
Well, it's certainly continued on, the Bulldogs at this point, looking very strong early in the game. Just a couple of interesting matchups. Peter Riccardi is on the half-back flank on Rowan Smith. That's speed versus speed. Liberatore in the middle, he's opposed to Hocking. That's the tag that the Bulldogs have set. Simpson on Dimatina.
Riccardi kicks the ball. You can see the ball holding up in the breeze, so certainly a breeze down towards the end the Bulldogs are kicking to. Around the corner, it's a high ball. It's been kicked out by Pickering. Touched on the line, so they'll toss it back in. 2-1-13 the Bulldogs, the Cats 2 behinds. The throw-in, 65 metres around from goals. Beautiful tap over the back by Scotty Wine. Libba has it intercepted by Corrigan, but again, he's got the free kick. Now, with the breeze behind him, it still may not be within kicking distance.
And they're creating space forward, the Bulldogs, for the leading target, but now the Geelong defender, Sanderson, notably, and Mensch have dropped back to block that hole.
Well, Cook and Chris Grant are in the goal square, so Libba from right on 50. Hanging up in the air, Cook the high flyer, again off hands.
It's interesting at the moment, Craig Ellis has been started on interchange. We mentioned that, and Barry Stonham, big Barry Stonham, is actually up in the forward line, you would think Allison would be the ideal match for Stonham, but at the moment they've gone for mobility, has Terry Wallace. Leon Cameron has come up to play half-back on Stonham.
Graham's kick, good 55 metres. Mensch flips it over the back. Two Bulldogs there. Dink to Smith. Curley calls for it in the middle, though. He's gone a lot further. Graham and Cook. Graham nearly couldn't complete the mark. Comes out to McGrath. Leg tackle by Garlick. Hocking got into the back of his opponent. Lynch ridden into the ground. Cat supporters looking for a free kick. None forthcoming. And the umpire will come in and ball it up. Still inside 50. Still inside the Western Bulldogs attacking zone. And that was the, well, indecision from the umpire. Probably a ball up, a good decision, though. Plenty of players around the ball. Look at this, about 20 of them. Wide. Cats can't find space. Ramiro's kick. Cook flips it on. This should be a goal. Only 5 metres out, and the ball was put through by Johnson for a goal.
Yes, and all set up by Ramiro's ability to extricate the ball from those pack situations. Scott Wine getting first hand on the ball and just directing it, but certainly it was Ramiro. Have a look at this. He's the one who extricated the ball, Ramiro. And when the ball went forward, well, it bounced, and it could bounce anywhere. Good knock on by Cook. And Johnson runs into the open goal.
Bulldogs by 18 points, a change by the Cats. You see Graham on screen has been taken from the field. McGrath has gone back to fullback playing on James Cook, and Snell has come on the ground and has picked up Simon Garlick. I think Gary may have been a bit unhappy when they got that goal before, when Grant was able to knock the ball on. Mansfield out of the centre square, drills it. But Curley chips in, cross half-back. They have the runners out wide. Danny Southern. Been playing at both ends of the ground this year. He's been a goal kicker on the forward line as well. Leon Cameron comes away, kicks the ball wide. Backing back is Lynch, read it well. Such an important player for the Cats.
He had to kick the ball 60 metres. It was going to be a very tough kick to kick it over Lynch's head. And it was a poor choice of options then by Cameron.
Lynch is such an important player. That's a poor kick. Well read by Dimatina. The Bulldogs on the rebound. Belts the ball long. Grant's got it inside 50. He'll run into the open goal. Bangs it through. Hits the post. What a miss. As Chris Grant puts the hands to the head.
That's the pressure of being a certain. He wanted KB. He really had to kick the goal. It was an easy goal, but he just tensed up and tried to steer the ball through instead of kicking the ball firmly and mistimed the contact.
So the Bulldogs are very sharp early in this first term. Riccardi to McGrath. 21 plays 2.
It's interesting that this week Coleman, last week Brown, opposition defences are choosing to put a more mobile player on Grant rather than traditional slower key position player.
Well, they play through Chris Grant, so you've got to be careful that you don't go leaving him, Lee, because they do put their attacks through Chris Grant.
Yeah, no, it actually got clear then by the turnover, but just the type of player, it seems opposition coaches, that with a high tackle, their opposition coaches are going for mobility rather than size against Chris Grant at this point.
So a lull in proceedings might give the Cats a bit of time to gather a bit of momentum. Again, he goes very, very short. Finds Riccardi. Still inside the defensive 50. Riccardi is looking to who he can kick it to. It's Mansfield against Grant, giving away a lot of size. And Chris Grant takes an easy mark.
Made it look easy anyway. Grant keen to make amends for missing that goal. Smith. Simpson cannons into him. Smith gets on his bike pretty quickly. Slight breeze at his back. Down towards full forward, and Hudson has taken the mark.
That's fantastic play by Smith. Somehow or other, I think he knew Hudson was over there. He must have eyes in the back of his head. But when he turned onto his right foot, he actually played the ball on quickly, but then hooked the kick over to the waiting Hudson. So terrific real team play then. Grant to bring the ball back into the centre square to open up the forward line. And then fantastic execution of a long, long pass then by Smith to Hudson.
One of 9 players in the Bulldogs lineup today who have played more than 100 games. He kicks, and the goal umpire says full points.
Yes, they are very sharp and they are very clean, the Bulldogs. They're not making too many errors at this point. And when they've got a chance to set teammates up, they're playing with confidence that indefinable commodity you'd like to bottle if you could. If you're confident, your hands are nice and loose, your mind acts quickly, and at the moment the Bulldogs have got that in immense doses.
$25 points the margin.
Terry Wallace has popped up. Luke Darcy enters a tall forward, and the Geelong have to reorganise their defence. Graham will have to get back on the field pretty quickly.
Russell Morris might be able to tell us even from ground level the strength of this breeze, because the Bulldogs are getting very good distance with their kicks. There's a chance for Bitterscombe, overruns the ball. Under pressure, King couldn't take it. Scotty West with those clean hands from centre wing. Again, puts the ball out in front, looking for Jose Ramiro. There's his minder today in Corrigan. They run it over the line.
Yeah, KB, it is the fly on the boundary. It's not just the breeze. I think, as Lee Matthews said, the Bulldogs have that consistency and that confidence. However, they probably could pick up maybe 3-goal advantage with this breeze. It's not too bad. It's not too strong, but probably about 3 goals.
Darcy to do battle with King. A couple of young guns. Darcy beaten that time by King, who just stumps the ball a good 20 metres. Dimatina there with his partner in crime, Liberatore, at ground level. Taps the ball on, clever play, gets it back to Dent. Goes short, but only finds Hocking. So the Cats come away. Good vision finds Hall, still on centre wing. Scott Stonham, the kicker too. Now he goes short. Riccardi has made ground, but again the kick's poor. Curley just tried to crash his way through. Riccardi, the tackler. The loose ball. Crediuk. A handy tap back that time by Stoneham, finds Hocking, back to Stoneham on 50, centres the ball, great kick, should find Lynch.
Yes, they had to work hard for this shot at goal, Geelong. Riccardi was set up, but he missed the target. He was missed as the target, and then once the ball went to ground, it took a lot of hard work. Eventually, Stoneham has been able to find Lynch out in front of goal, but at the moment, Geelong are just going to work their way into the game. Not handling the ball terribly well as a group, so they just need to persevere and just hope that it gradually comes.
Just playing his second game for the year, yet to kick a goal from 40 metres out. He's missed.
KB, can I ask the question? Stoneham has Leon Cameron chasing him. Do you think it's the same theory as them having a more athletic player on a bigger guy at that across that half-forward line?
Well, obviously they are. It was interesting, as I've mentioned earlier, that Craig Ellis, in fact, who normally play on a Stoneham type, is actually on the bench. So, yeah, the mobility has been preferred at both ends at this point instead of size.
Too bad, kicks in by Dent. Minch takes the kick. Pricey's put kicks out of bounds from defence, and it may result in the ultimate penalty. Lynch has got another shot at goal, having registered that previous behind. The difference 4 goals even. The Cats still to get there first, and we're past the halfway mark of the first quarter.
Well, the theory could be also with Cameron that kicking with the breeze, he just might be able to run off Barry Stoneham across half back.
That should be a goal. Swinging round it is. Lynch gets the Cats first. A 1-1 against the name of Paul Lynch. Both kicked in the last minute and a bit. 1-3 to 4-3, the difference back to 18 points.
Yes, they certainly needed that goal, Geelong, just to get the scoreboard ticking over. The Bulldogs have certainly started well. It's interesting at this very early stage. Hocking has gone off, Liberatore in as a permanent forward, and in fact Kilpatrick has gone in. So Libba hasn't followed Hocking out, so it's probably a set midfield the Bulldogs are going to use at the start of this game.
Capacity crowd at the Cattery. Geelong getting there first. The difference back to 3 goals, 18 points. Wind loses it to King. Ramiro off the left. Darcy couldn't take it. Graham can. Kick, not a great one. Bounce is going to be a factor on centre wing. Grant set up a goal when he got the ball last time in this position. Looking for Cook. Got 2 hands to it. West, who's got pace to burn. Left foot snap misses and results in only 1 behind.
It's interesting. He hasn't played much this year, of course. Has Pickering, and playing that tagging role on West. West is really running hard, and I think that's the aspect of West's game he's picked up this year even compared to last. His ball winning's always been fantastic, but I think he just looks that bit fitter. He's running that bit harder, so it's going to be a big day for Pickering to be able to hang on to West as this game develops.
Well, West this year has gone from being one of the good players of the competition to probably just about the elite midfield player league. His performances this year have been just so outstanding.
Well, he's leading all the awards. That's about the only thing we got to go on at this point.
Sanderson kicks the ball towards the half-back line, taken away by Hall. Tried to set it up, wanted to draw Krediuk, who did well. Burns goes to ground, Liver at ground level. Rockets the ball back to Jose.
Oh!
Bang! Crashed to the ground that time by Hocking. And backing back, taking the grab is Riccardi. Tough tackle that time by Gary Hocking. Last time these sides met, I think he got reported and got rubbed out with Wira. But he's the heart of Geelong is Gary Hocking. Ronnie Burns comes away from centre wing, taking them on here at Kardinia Park. The rock singer goes inside the centre square. The kick was poor. Taken away by Johnson. This is where the Bulldogs heard the Cats on the rebound. Johnson goes wide, gets the ball across to Rowan Smith on 50. It's a poor kick. Still the Bulldogs with Collingwood. Just shovel the ball out. Caught high was Hudson. A definite free kick.
You call it right, KB, free kick.
And again, the other is Geelong turnover. There just as a difference between the teams at the moment. The Bulldogs are much better at maintaining possession. They messed that one up a little bit, but at this point, Geelong have turned the ball over a couple of times around midfield, around their half-forward line, and on the rebound, the Bulldogs players are making them pay.
Hudson's been very good this year. He's booted 7 goals. Just needs 2 today to give him 300 in AFL football. Paul Hudson. Usually a very reliable kick directly in front with a breeze behind his back. He drills it.
Yes, he is a very, very good finisher there is Paul Hudson. Just a little bit lucky. The high tackle gave him the free kick when the Bulldogs had worked their way into trouble. But certainly they're a scoring machine, the Bulldogs. They've kicked 5 goals as we get into this early, still midway, 3/4 way through this first quarter. Again, this all happened on the rebound. They just try to overplay the situation a little bit, but when the ball came loose, it was 2 Bulldogs players in to get it.
300th AFL goal to Paul Hudson, carrying on the family tradition, 5-4 to 1-3. Mansfield, a little give out to Colbert. Colbert up towards right half forward. Cameron and Stonham. Croft. Curley. Away they come again. Johnson. Collingwood, one of the veterans of the side. Buddy's debut under Mick Malthouse. Darcy gives it back to him. Outside 50. Little breeze behind him into the goal square. Grant, nearly a one-hander taken down in the tackle. Was it a free kick? The Bulldog supporters roaring. The umpire says no. Play on, McGrath will. McGrath. Kick may have been touched off the boot. Dimatina's got the mark anyway, and/or free kick. West. West from midfield. Bulldogs getting plenty of the footy on their forward line. They've been a little bit slow to start sometimes, but not today. Sanderson out to King. Lynch, Geelong's only goal kicker so far. Burns and Liberatore, the 2 midgets, encroach upon him. Have to wait on the boundary umpire. It just bounced inside. Terrible kick, though, either way.
Hey, Peter, Lee Matthews is correct about Liam Pickering. I think he's looking for petrol tickets. They've moved Simpson onto Scotty West, I think, because West was cutting them up in that midfield.
So a throw in. King and Wine, won by the latter. Now the umpire's blowing the whistle. Free kick to Liberatore again. No, it's not. It's going to Wine. Brownlow medalist. 1992. And he also won the club's best and fairest award. You can see what that was for. So away they go again. Johnson, one of their class midfielders. Grant again. Got a fingernail to it. Sanderson, quick hand pass. Mensch as the Cats try to run it out. It's Hocking from halfback. Riccardi should provide the shepherd. And that's a little bit better as Stoneham marks on centre wing.
So the skipper's got it. Long, long way out from goals. Tips the ball out in front. Kilpatrick needs a bounce. Should be able to get around Scotty Wine. Centres the ball to the front of the goal square. Croft goes back, got his hands on the ball. Bundled out of the way by Krediuk, who goes to ground. Gets the free. They'll pay advantage. Jose Ramiro gives it across to Danny Southern's going to run smack bang into Mensch. Kicked off the ground by Croft. bad luck for the Bulldogs. It's out on the full.
That was good pressure then by Geelong. They tried to bring the ball out then, the Bulldogs, but the hand pass from Miro was to a player under pressure and good turnover.
Corrigan, the king. He's waiting for Minch to get back. Also Hall being closely guarded by Krediuk. So King pops the ball up. So it's a chance for the high flyers. And in front is Croft. Beats young Cameron Roberts. Again, the Bulldogs, always quick to bring the ball out of defence. Dimatina pops it out in front, looking for Libba.
Good knock on, wasn't it? He knocked the ball on deliberately then.
To Hudson, who goes short and finds Rowan Smith. On centre wing, 34 plays 9. Bulldogs by 25 points. Again, Grant's the target. He's got Colbert to beat. Hocking does well. Taps the ball across to McGrath. Two old heads working together. And now, the Cats in space. Lynch has already kicked a goal. Puts it out in front, looking for Pickering. His first game back this year. Such an important player. Back to Minch. So the Cats keep control. Can they set it up inside 50? They can't. Krediuk, too good.
Krediuk to Cameron, one of their best last week. Minch has the front posse. 2-on-1. Riccardi at centre wing. Johnson too late to catch him. Krediuk again, this time will punch. Croft got cleaned up. Krediuk didn't. Well played by the veteran. Marking contest on centre wing. Rowan Smith, he's been brilliant so far, to his partner in crime and Johnson. Johnson kicks to left half forward. Grant and Colbert. Grant dragged. Didn't really have control of the football. The umpire says throw it in.
Well, it's almost here, isn't it, for Chris Grant? About 3 or 4 times he's almost got the ball against. That's a good solid contact there against Colbert. But just at the moment, it's like Colbert, I reckon, is like a little boy with the finger in the dike. It's going to burst because at the moment, he looks just too big in those marking contests. But at this point, he's done okay.
Graham went through, missed it. Kilpatrick, quick kick. There's a whistle. Bulldogs free kick. It's going to be. Scotty West is picking that up. I'm not quite sure whether he's going to be the recipient of this kick. It's going to Johnson, in fact. Probably too far out to score. Need to be a mammoth kick from there. Spiral might do it if he really got onto it. Drop punt will land it probably about 30 metres out, directly in front of goal. Punch away by McGrath, whose defence has been excellent so far. Riccardi sets it up for Minch. Minch, 25-metre hand pass, not really to the advantage of his side. The Bulldogs with the numbers. Cook, Ramiro, Johnson, another centering kick. Darcy the target. Graham in front, takes a good mark. Already been benched. Came back on pretty quickly after Gary Ayres no doubt had words to him. Getting plenty of advice from the crowd where to kick it. Finally he goes to Kilpatrick, short of half back.
Much improved player, Glenn Kilpatrick. Hold well in the Brownlow medal last year. Won a Magarey medal in South Australia. So the Cats come forward. And there's a good mark by Stonham. Skipper has used his weight a few times today as well. Looks to be in good touch. McGrath got a chance to carry the ball to 50 to the goal square. A one-on-one duel. Big King getting back with Danny Southern. But too much carry on the ball.
They've worked their way back into this in general play, Geelong. Just this last 10 or 15 minutes, the Bulldogs jumped out of the blocks. The game is now fairly finally balanced in general play. But of course, importantly for the Bulldogs, they've got the 4-goal lead.
Kicking with a breeze in this opening term. Can Cameron Roberts kick it off the ground? He was held.
And we'll get the free kick.
So the youngster will shoot from directly in front, right on the goal line.
What about the high tackle? Well, eventually it was high, but I think he was being certainly grappled and
that's what I saw in the first place.
Well before the high tackle, and yeah, there was a couple of free kicks. Eventually, about the third one was paid.
So the Cats have their second goal on the board.
And this is an interesting psychology that often happens, I reckon. The Bulldogs have been playing so well in recent weeks. They jump out of the blocks today. They get 4 goals in front. If you're not careful, you can very easily think, here we go again. We've got this game already. And sometimes you can just think the game is decided before, in fact, it is. And I think just maybe Geelong have stabilised the game at this point, and we could have a good contest from this moment on.
First career goal for Cameron Roberts in the last minute of the first quarter. So the Bulldogs, the message is from Lee Matthews, would not want to relax, even though they have started better than they usually do. Colbert off the ground. It's a good 40 metres with that kick. Stonham paddling in front. Looks for somebody to give it to. That somebody is Snell, ultimately, out to full forward, or the full forward pocket. Roberts. Another free kick against Croft. Not having a good quarter, Croft. He kicked out of bounds on the full off the ground earlier. Gave away a free kick just moments back to Roberts that resulted in a goal. Given away another free kick here that could also result in a goal.
Yes, it wasn't the spoil, but it was that grapple as the two players were falling to ground. The umpire was free kicked. And again, a second free kick and a second chance for Roberts to have a shot. Much more difficult shot, this one, of course.
He'll be kicking just on 50 in the last few seconds of the first quarter. Be a real handy one for Geelong if he can draw this one back across the goal. The mark is there!
Stoneham.
Big Barry has dragged it down. The siren will sound.
Just what you don't want. Obviously what this does, it prevents Stoneham coming off the straight line. He can't play on inside, so this is a really difficult shot here. He's going to have to do the banana kick, and the umpire has to be so careful to make sure, in fact, that he does not come off the straight line. I wouldn't be surprised if the umpire stands directly behind the man on the mark to make sure. It's a really interesting situation. We don't see it so often, but running in the straight line, I don't know whether there's any goal open to Stoneham at all.
The gap is so small, the ball could get stuck in between. Hit the post. So one behind, kicked by the veteran Barry Stoneham, right on siren time here at Kardinia Park. But food for thought for Terry Wallace and the Bulldogs as they go to the huddle. And at the first change, it's the Western Bulldogs leading 5-4-34 to Geelong 2-4-16.
Certainly, yes. And in the last 10 minutes of the quarter was certainly Geelong. They stabilised the game after the Bulldogs jumped out of the blocks, and all of a sudden they go to the quarter-time break in a lot better state than they were before the game. They've certainly got a 3-goal margin they've got to make up, but I just think that the Bulldogs, they started so well that just there comes that subconscious relaxation of thinking, here we go again, we've been going well, here we're going to continue going. But Geelong has stopped that initial run and are now really back in the game.
18 points the margin as we take a break. Second quarter from Kardinia Park begins with the Cats trailing by 3 goals, but they did look a lot better in the latter part of the first term. Wind against Mensch, line ball decision. Lynch, Grant takes him high, free kick. They're pushing the back, whichever you like, same result. One of their better players in the first quarter, kicked 1 goal 1. And 50 metres, a real con job there. With the Bulldogs player taken over the mark, I'll say accidentally, but accidents don't count in that regard. And so Lynch will now have a shot of goal, importantly. And with the breeze at his back, might be half a chance of kicking this.
Pretty short 50 metres, that one.
Yeah. Yes, probably another 5 would have done it. Lynch from 55. And off target, so he registers his second behind of the match. 1 goal 2 against his name. Assisted by a 50-metre penalty to start the second quarter. So the margin back to 17 points, 5-4 to 2-5 at Kardinia Park. Brad Wirra, who spent a lot of the first quarter on the bench, takes the mark. Simpson, and they're going to run it across the other way now. Brad Wirra. Oh, it's a bad option. Stoneham gets it down to Milburn. Curly cannons into him. Stoneham looks for the free kick, and there is going to be one. Milburn's going to take it. Darren Milburn right on the boundary. Yes, King. Wine was edged out of the contest, and the big arms of Stephen King went up and made a certainty of it.
Well, this has to happen for Geelong's tactics to work. Mensch has got a bit of the ball there, and the midfielders, the ruckman. Wine's been good in the ruck work, but Mensch had 8 possessions as a mobile big fella. But the other part of the equation is for King to use his height, and there he just outreached them. He's much taller than Southern, going to be much slower at ground level, so he has to be able to take a few marks close to goal to make that size player pay on the full forward line.
He gets the goal. Here come the Cats.
Yes, well, it would have been hard to expect this, hard to predict this pre-game that King wouldn't have been in the ruck against Wind. And as I mentioned, that's the equation, that's the punt. Can King give a bit of height on the full forward line? Stonham is actually, I think, giving a bit of optimism for Geelong around half forward. He's actually looking pretty lively, Barry Stonham. The best I've seen him, I reckon, for 2 or 3 years. So the signs aren't too bad for Geelong early in the second quarter.
3-5-23 plays, 5-4-34. And I think that Gary Ayres has set up his forward line very well. He's gone for some size. Milburn's down there as well, and also Roberts, because the Bulldogs have always been a bit short in defence. West, front edge of the centre square, caught high. Had a good opening term. He's leading most of the awards in Melbourne. So Scotty West on the point of the square. Again, you can see the ball holding up. Cook caught in between 2 Geelong players. Ball kicked off the ground. Chance for Johnson to paddle the ball long in front. Had it all tied up. Libber. But a free kick is going to Johnson.
Well, that was an interesting decision. I thought Johnson dived on the ball. He eventually knocked it out, but the umpire has played a push in the back, which didn't seem to be terribly severe on first viewing.
Kicked the goal in the first quarter.
Let's have a look at this. He dives on the ball.
Free kick against Corrigan. Looks like they gave for in the back, I suppose, Lee. So Brad Johnson, who's not quite certain about it. Now he is. He's got 2.
Yes, well, they're working their way into the game, Geelong, and they're the, I guess, the unfortunates, really. I thought that was just a pretty iffy free kick, that one. He certainly got in the front position, Johnson, so if you're the man initiating play. But let's have a look at this. I thought the Geelong player, I didn't quite fall on his back. I didn't think I'm trying to find the free kick here. Maybe this situation, well, I thought that was very stiff for that to be played as an in the back. I thought that was play on.
Kilpatrick back on, Graham off again for Geelong. I guess the adage is if you feel somebody in your back, dive forward and you may get a free kick. He did there. The margin is back to 17 points.
Never thought of that myself.
I thought of just about everything else, KB. They changed the rules for you, didn't they?
I understood the rule perfectly. Bouncing the ball, throwing yards out seemed pretty simple to me.
They changed the rules of Walter Lindrum in billiards, so real champs can have sporting bodies do that. Scramble in the middle.
Interesting positional thing happening. Rowan Smith was playing half forward. Peter Riccardi was matched up with him. Now Smith's gone to play as an additional full forward line player. Whether Riccardi is suited as that last line, the last line of defence. I think that's good coaching by Terry Wallace. It's putting Smith where he's got his best advantage against Riccardi.
Corrigan, Ramiro, jostling. Wind and Mensch. Mensch wins it at the second attempt, hits it straight to Liberatore, who fumbles. Free kick to the Western Bulldogs, and Ramiro's going to take it. Jose Ramiro at midfield. Much improved player. Yes, the sticky fingers of Grant. That's a mark. It's not a mark. Wow, Sanderson's got the foot. He gives it straight to Grant again. That is a high tackle, but the umpire still calls play on. They've swallowed the whistle, and I'll put mine away as well. Snell missed it. Chance for Dimatina. He was also taken high, but he had the footy, and probably the best decision there is a ball up, which is what it's going to be, right on the edge of the square.
Well, I think he should have been paid the mark. It was knocked out of his hands. It wasn't as if he dropped it. Then he should have got the free kick as well, Chris Grant.
Thanks for that, KB.
Knows a couple of times a day he's appealed for free kicks. So at this stage, I think Chris Grant would probably think he's been hardly done by.
Wine to Liberatore, knocked away by Smith. Quick kick by Johnson. The bounce is going to be a factor. McGrath, 7 kicks in the first quarter. One of Geelong's stars so far today. Long kick by the former Morris medalist.
Down the
Pickering
field.
Takes the mark. He'll give it to Burns, who started on the bench. One bounce. Burns, who won the goal kicking last year at Geelong. Long bomb up towards full forward. Southern gets a hand to it. I think it struck the behind post and maybe therefore out of bounds on the full. So it will be a free kick to be taken for the Western Bulldogs by Danny Southern.
He brings the ball back looking for Scotty Wine. The skipper's got it. Not much difference between that mark and Chris Grant's a few moments ago. To Curley. So a transfer of play to the outer side of Kardinia Park. He wants to go short and sets it up and finds Danny Southern. Still in the defensive 50. 40 plays 23. The Bulldogs by 17 points. Winds off and Luke Darcy on. Again, they keep control to Dent.
He should see Darcy this side. He's on his own.
Dent still only 30 metres out from goals. Good coaching, Pete. So does Stonham. Does well. Got his body in line. Cameron pounced on it. Menster chaser. Southern lends support. Again, they're driven backwards. They're still inside the defensive 50, the Bulldogs. Cameron now kicks the ball long. Darcy was the high flyer, ground level. Pickering just angles the ball.
That was a good morale booster for Geelong then. They tried to extricate the ball from their defensive area, the Bulldogs, but the Geelong pressure kept them in there. It sort of was really that little mini contest over the last 20 seconds was won by Geelong.
You get the feeling, Lee, that Geelong is certainly on the improve. They're going up a cog. Libba. It's a quick kick out of the pack. Mansfield twisting and turning. Some fancy footwork was caught.
Just let the ball go. He's good at evading tackles, Mickey Mansfield. We got around the first one, but the second and third was just too much.
That was a good decision. West, Hocking should take the mark and does. He's on the half-back line. Got beautiful skills. Either side of his body to Simpson. Gives it back to Corrigan. He goes very short and finds Milburn. So a couple of young players figuring in the action. Corrigan just chips the ball up, and here's Stonham.
And there's McGrath coming from defence. Will he get used?
Stonham picks him out beautifully. McGrath should mark. Runs into the open goal. He's got it.
Had a shot at goal in the first quarter, Tim McGrath, but missed it. No mistake that time.
Well, that's the ultimate running from the full-back position. He got there. He was ready to be used for about the previous 3 Geelong disposals, but he was on the blind side. They couldn't see him. James Cook was trailing him. He was a long way back, 20, 30 metres, but eventually Stoneham saw him dropping in. That's, again, a great morale booster for the defence to get up and kick a goal.
Good signs by Geelong. Good vibes. They trailed at quarter time by 18 points. They're a little bit closer now. Ramiro. Martin on the ground. On Sanderson. Sanderson beats him. McGrath again. Best player in the first quarter for the Cats, and he's continuing on in that vein. Kilpatrick. Oysters from left half back to Mansfield. Mansfield short of centre wing. Milburn. The Cats have certainly found something in this capacity crowd to a man. Pickering is urging them on. Oh, nearly a mark there, but if you didn't play Grant, you couldn't play that one. Crediuk to Dent, whose kicking has let him down today. The hand pass is effective. It's onto Curley. Curley from right half back and right on the boundary line. Onto Darcy, who's been okay since he came back on. Could have gone a little bit further, Darcy. Oh, the pass is an absolute gem. Rowan Smith. Inside 50 takes the mark.
Yes, it was a good... we see here... Ramiro, the quick kick forward.
Now the Bulldogs need a steadier. They dominated the first half of the first quarter, but since then the Cats have been more than competitive. From 45 metres, Rowan Smith kicks and it drifts off target for a behind, I believe. Why don't the goal umpire? It is. So Rowan Smith, 2 behinds to his name today. Cats bench 4-5 to 6-5. The difference back to 2 goals. Riccardi is going to kick in under 13 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Riccardi doesn't quite get the distance that Graham gets, but that's not a bad kick. Grant, nearly the mark again. Well, he knows he won't be paid that one if he wasn't paid the one previously in the same spot. Simpson, great gather. Burns, clear of Grant, who still gives chase. Burns backs himself up towards full forward. Now there's an interference here. It'll be a Bulldogs free kick. It's going to Crediuk, I think.
Yes, it wasn't that big jump. I think the free kick was paid against Simpson for Roberts, I should say, for being just over aggressive, over physical, over bodying Crediuk. But a fairly fortunate decision again.
Milburn, a chance. Darcy, will he go off the ground? He does, and he gets it to West.
He's on the half-back line, goes short. Liberatore is under pressure. Loose handball taken by Corrigan. The Cats.
Oh, that's a good mark, isn't it? That is a good mark.
Player.
That is the player marking the ball when he probably had about a 40% chance. I would have thought Dean had about a 60%, so it was a 40-60 ball, and Lynch made it his. Running with the flight of it, that's just a fantastic effort. He's a very talented player, Paul Lynch, that medium-sized marking half forward. Not all that quick, but just the ability to mark much taller than his actual height.
Such an important player last year for the Cats. They missed him in that final in Adelaide. He's a bouncy player, often plays centre-half forward, very short for the position. So Lynch, who kicked a goal in the first term, will be shooting from just on 50. He's got the breeze behind him. This looks a good kick. .65, 41, plays 5-5, 35. The Cats within a goal.
Well, yes, you can see the game starting to stabilise about two-thirds of the way through the first quarter. And Geelong just started to peg the Bulldogs back. And now at the moment, they're pretty much in control of the game. They've still got to get to the front on the scoreboard, of course. But in general, the Bulldogs have started to make more mistakes in the last 5 minutes than they probably have in the 3 rounds to this part of the season.
2 goals, 2 kicked by Paul Lynch. And the Cats looking a different side in this quarter. Mensch to Pickering, who fumbles. A little kick off the ground, and he gets it back again. Colbert to Lynch, who kicked that last goal. He got up properly, but he kicked it okay. Cameron, good use of the body to get rid of his opponent, Stonham, who still fights on. Curley and Stonham go for it. Curley off the ground, out of bounds. Crowd says deliberate. The umpire says throw it in. And I don't think you'd argue with that. 35 to 41. It was 18 points the margin at quarter time, so the Cats, since about halfway through the first quarter, have looked the better side, and certainly a much better combination than they did in that strip last week at the SCG. Lynch could kick another one. Will he get his third? Mark is taken by, who was it down there, Cameron or Curley? It's Cameron. Timely one for the Western Bulldogs.
And Darcy into the ruck or around King, and it looks like Southern is going into play around Mensch. So I think this tactical decision to put Mensch in the ruck, Terry Wallace has accepted at this point of the game. That's working much in favour of the Geelong team.
Now, the ball's going to have to come back.
And Crediot looks like he hurt himself then too.
Calf injury or something, or has he just got a cramp or a corky? No, he's going to continue on. A couple of trainers running out to him.
He's had some problems over the years with his hamstring.
So now Cameron's going to kick over the mark, on which Stonham is standing. He goes to the outer side. King in front. Darcy probably should have punched. Gets the footy in the end. Southern. A quick kick out towards centre wing. Out of bounds. No, not on the full, or is it? It's a throw in. Just. A line ball decision. So throw in on centre wing as the Bulldogs prepare to make a change.
Craig Ellis on for Matthew Dent.
So from that boundary throw in, Dent's off the ground. Here's McGrath with that big fist away. Johnson robes it well, gives it across to Jose, just outside of 50, goes short. Good play by Mansfield, got his hands on the ball, then back kicks the ball, knocked on by Kilpatrick. Chance for Riccardi. So the Geelong defence now working hard as a combination. Grant has got it on centre wing under pressure, back to Garlick, thumps the ball back inside 50, playing in front is Mansfield. Very strong overhead, couldn't take it. Ball rocket back by Simpson, back to Riccardi. The Cats rebound out of defence, goes to the half-forward line. Lynch was the target. Ball pumped back over the line by Cameron.
And yes, it's Cameron onto Lynch and Ellis onto the field on Stonham, which probably looked the best matchup from the very start of the game, but it's only when Geelong have started to really come at a run on the scoreboard that Terry Wallace has decided to put that move into action.
Lynch, quick kick from that boundary throw in. Stonham now being picked up by Ellis. Crediot looks like he's recovered. Handballs to Pickering. Good smother. Ran into the back there of Todd Curley. Stonham wants the free kick. West goes up the top, so does Buddha Hocking. And they ball it up right on 50. Barry Stonham has been a live wire on the forward line. Not only with his strength, he's taken a couple of good marks.
Blood rule.
A couple of very clever tap-ons as well. Some great leadership. So a ball up. Chris Grant is also down in defence. In fact, contesting the ruck work. Ronnie Burns is taken to the ground. He'll get a free.
Now, that is the disadvantage of having Scott Wind off the field, because then you've got probably a Stonham v Ellis, and I think Stonham is the better ruckman in that kind of contest, and that speed of Burns, Liberatore knew that he couldn't really match him for acceleration and just had to try and retard him, and retarded him too much. The umpire played a pretty obvious free kick.
He's kicked 5 goals for the season. He's a goal kicker, Ronnie Burns, from 45 metres out. And he has slotted it through. Scores a level at Kardinia Park.
Ball on Roberts off for the Cats.
Yes, and a very, very finely balanced game. I mentioned this psychology a while back. When a side that's been playing well starts really well in a particular game, it's very often to subconsciously just think it's going to happen again. I don't know whether that's happened to the Bulldogs, but certainly at this point in the game, everything's even on the scoreboard and in general play as well.
Kicked 5 of the last 6 goals, Geelong. Yeah, and you'd have to say well on top. Not on the scoreboard, scores a level, but they've certainly had the majority of the play in the last 20 minutes or so. Lynch pounds them further forward. West gets a nice old heave-ho on the back from Corrigan. The umpire lets it go. Pickering's hand pass is effective to Simpson. To half forward, Hocking in front. Ball punched into the open spaces. Simpson missed it. Milburn doesn't. Milburn to a contest at half forward. Now Grant's down there with Snell. Garlick sees it over the line. Throwing right half forward for the Cats. Maybe a chance to get in front for the first time today. Well, many people thought that they would start favourites here. There was a lot of money for them, despite their 103-point loss last week at the SCG. But they look a different side in more ways than one today. Umpire Vernon has paid a free kick, and it's going against Barry Stoneham. It's going to Ellis. Ellis's first kick. Darcy's made a lead, albeit a short one. Cameron decides to go longer. No, not a push in the back. Croft may have infringed, the crowd thought. Sanderson. That'll go close to the boundary line. And in fact, it's out of bounds now. Ellis just couldn't control it, so a throw in. Right half forward flank for the Cats. Scores level. Darcy off the ground.
Yeah, so now the Kings in the ruck. Wind is back on to compete. Real big fellow against the real other big fellow.
Wind, who was having his hamstring massage when he was on the sidelines.
Yes, I think Terry Wallace had accepted that David Mench's mobility. He was just getting too much of the ball and decided to make the change in the ruck. But with King now in the ruck for Geelong, Wind back on. Pretty sensible stuff.
Wind wins it. Martin also on. Liberatore missed it. Almost thrown away there by Wind and could have been penalised. The umpire says though, throw it in, which will take place on centre wing.
And again, Scotty Wind, we saw him last week not have the mouth guard in full position, so he grits his teeth with it. Unusual way to use your mouth guard.
Well, we're not getting it very far.
In a situation whether Gary Ayres decides to actually put Mench back into the ruck or persist now with King. This is just an interesting tactical cat and mouse that's happening between the two teams.
Well, certainly Gary Ayres would be very happy with the commitment of the Geelong players. Last week he said they were pathetic. They're going in pretty hard in this second term. Kick's been marked by Credior. Their tackling on the forward line has been good. They've been trying to hold the ball up so the Bulldogs can't run it out of defence.
And I think importantly, they're taking the ball away from the pack situations. The Bulldogs, well. Ramiro and West are terrific at getting those loose balls out of the pack situations. But Geelong have started, as this game's progressed, they're the ones coming up with the ball and going forward.
Some big raps on this youngster Milburn. There's Mench. Says, kick it long to me. Goes short and finds Kilpatrick. Still inside the centre square. 41 apiece. Cats trail by 18 points at quarter time. And again, the short is on, been marked by Pickering.
Had to be all the Bulldogs players were back covering the defensive 50, but there was space in between the kicker on the 50-metre mark But we see this a lot in football these days. Opposition teams do get their players back in the defensive 50. So a player's got a shot from around the 50-metre mark. Really, there'll be very little on. There'll be no space to move in. So Pickering is going to have a pin. He'll be kicking from about 53 metres, which takes a very good kick.
Well, you would think he'd put it right to the line. In front was King. Coming out is Stonham. I reckon he's been terrific, Barry Stonham.
The most mobile and agile looking I've seen Barry Stonham for a few years today.
Mark
He had a pretty good second half against Richmond down here in round 2. So
After
it's
being moved to
really
the
good
forward
news. Yeah, really good news, I think, for Geelong, just to see. He was just a terrific player, Barry Stoneham, until that broken leg.
Cheers for Paul Brown, who comes on.
So he kicks a minor score. Yes, Pete, Paul Brown's on number 40 for the Cats. He's only played one game in 2 years. Yes, Russell?
KB, just have a look. Every player is down that Geelong forward line. I think Tim McGrath's now running back up to the back line, but the whole 2 teams were down in the Western Bulldogs forward line.
Front half of the Geelong side. So what a great story it is for Paul Brown. Just the one game, no games last year, one game in 1996.
So his second game since 95, really.
He's had patella tendon problems, and he's back in the action now. Got a tremendous roar of approval. Great ovation from the Cat supporters. Kilpatrick forces the ball forward, taken by Curley. The tackler, Kilpatrick Smith, wants to use his pace, feeds it off to Jose Ramiro, runs to 50. Now to 40. Has a long pot shot at goals. He's got it.
Yes, that was all about the kick-in situation. All the space was in the Geelong forward line, and once the kick-in ran through the centre square, Mick Mansfield put his hands on the ball first. He was the first ground-level player, but he wasn't able to dispose of the ball. It was just a flow of Bulldogs players. Ramiro's ran from half-back, overlapped, ran into the 50-metre mark, steadied and goal. Terrific answering goal against the flow of play.
Equal leading kick getter for the Western Bulldogs today, Jose Ramiro. That's number 7 and his first goal. Corrigan. Out to Kilpatrick. That's a terrible kick. That's out of bounds on the full. In fact, it's nearly on St Mary's oval. I think that's what it is at the back of us. So Barry Stoneham stands the mark. Ellis will take the free kick at left half back, having just come onto the field some 8 minutes or so ago. 5 minutes remaining in the half here at Kardinia Park. 6-6 to 7-5. The margin just 5 points in favour of the Bulldogs. It was 18 at quarter time. Grant in front, outmarked by Mansfield. Free kick to the Bulldogs. Well, Chris Grant will accept it because I think he's got a fairly raw deal so far. He took a mark in the first quarter, which clearly was a grab but wasn't paid, and straight away he was infringed. That wasn't paid, so I think he'll take this one. Grant short of left centre wing. Bad kick, bad option. Mansfield takes the mark, like kick to kick. Riccardi could have given it to McGrath or Hocking as well. Sanderson, Mensch, clear of Southern. Snell at left centre wing. His opposite number 4, Garlick, stands the mark. Goes inboard, Sanderson. Third AFL club. Straight down the spine of the ground now. Stoneham's there again. Couldn't complete the mark that time. Brown goes in, looks for holding the ball decision. Ellis comes out with a footy, and the ball up will take place to long centre half forward position. Paul Brown, the forgotten man of Geelong, as KB said. Second game in 2 years. Now there's going to be a free kick here, or do we have the blood rule? What's happening? There is the blood rule.
And Lee Colbert has drawn Chris Grant down to the Geelong forward line, so it's not a bad positioning, I think, for Geelong. Better to have the gun centre half forward of the opposition well away from the centre half forward position. Well, it doesn't take much blood, does it? It's certainly not bleeding profusely. Barry Stoneham trying to see where the blood is, but it's only a drop or two. As long as the umpire can see it, you're off.
Lee, we saw last night Nathan Buckley actually point out to the umpire that Benny Gale had a bit of a cut on his knee and he was sent from the field. Yeah,
there's plenty of dobbing going on in terms of the blood rule. That is one area where the players don't mind pointing it out to the umpires about opposition guys.
So bounce centre half forward for Geelong.
All the space is clear forward for Geelong. See if they can get it into it.
Wine on his knees to West. Went past Grant. Colbert. Curly a chance. Terrible kick. Straight to Riccardi. On his correct boot. The left. Long bomb by Riccardi. Never any doubt. A goal. Geelong in front.
Well, yes, very sloppy kick out of defence there by Todd Curley. There's one thing for certain, that when you kick the ball quickly out of that attacking, the defensive 50, I should say. See, Colbert, he just hand past the space, but this very sloppy kick. He wasn't under that much pressure. Straight to Riccardi, runs to the 50-metre line and just puts it up in the breeze and lets it go for a ride.
Cats by a point. There's Peter Riccardi on screen. Rowan Smith picking him up. Tremendous goal. Barry Stonham standing on the boundary line, ready to come back into the action. Been such an important player in this game so far. And we see the ball.
And I think all of a sudden Pickering is back on West, and actually he started to get the ball this quarter. In the first quarter, West was just outrunning Pickering, had a spell on the wing, gone back into the midfield, and all of a sudden the Pickering-West duel is going Geelong's way.
Lynch, just a short kick, hands and knees. The Bulldogs fighting hard for the ball. Curley caught. Scotty Wine, the skipper, wants to feed it off. Kilpatrick, the tackler as well. Wine does well, hands and knees back to Scotty West, just outside of 50. Good vision. He was looking for Collingwood. It was a scrappy old kick, but he finds him. Collingwood goes bang and pops it through. Bulldogs back in front. Let's check that. Yes, Bulldogs back in front. 53 plays 48. A bit slow on the scoreboard at Kardinia Park.
And now a very different game to the one the Bulldogs have been playing for the last few weeks. This is just a real struggle. Most of the goals are coming from just flurries of play, and one side might just get in the right position. Terrific vision then by West, and Collingwood have gone to the left foot to goal, but it's just a struggle now. Sometimes that's the way games eventuate. It's a very different style of football.
Veteran Steve Collingwood gets the goal to put the Bulldogs back in front. 2.5 minutes to half-time, so a vital period of play here in the context of this match. Minch, who's done well. Pickering, nearly into the back of his opponent too, so it's going to be another ball up. Only metres from the centre circle. All in this time, so like footy in the 60s. Wind. Burns and Martin. The Shepherd enables Burns to get the football. Wirra chases, Burns, good ball control around Martin, but only just this way, that way. Still Ronnie Burns. Burns down to Lynch, great footy. Now Lynch has been a thorn in the side of the Bulldogs today. Oh, terrific vision again. Stonham just back onto the ground after the blood rule, and he takes the mark in front of Ellis.
And Ellis got caught on the man on the mark, got caught close to Burns, and just good reaction then by Stoneham. He'll chip it on again.
Biddiscombe has also just come back onto the ground. Gary Ayres certainly using the interchange bench a lot. Paul's also come back on now in place of Kilpatrick.
But a lot of moves happening off the bench, and in general play, there's just players have been changing positions continually almost from the start of the game.
Biddiscombe hasn't bothered the statistician so far, apart from the mark. So this will be his first kick, maybe a goal. It is. Geelong back in front.
Yes, it is goal for goal, isn't it now? And the Bulldogs have been able to answer. It's just been, what, about goal for goal, alternate goals, I reckon, for about the last 5 or 6. Minch going back in the ruck and King going back up forward. But certainly this ground level, this ability of Burns just to carry the ball. He bounced it once, not anything much on, so he thought, well, I'll assess my options. But then the little chip kick to Lynch, that set up the chain of disposals, as we see Ellis got caught there.
Great game at Kardinia Park. The Cats lead by a point. Scotty Wine. Geelong's kicked 6 goals to 3 in his second term. Hudson spent some time on the interchange bench, just tries to pop the ball up. McGrath with the sit. It's been terrific, Tim McGrath. That was a mark for mine.
Umpire paid that it went off the hands of the Bulldogs player in the front position.
Dent.
Might have been a marginal touch. Let's have a look. Oh, most of those marks get paid, don't they? marginal touch or not, when it's both players reaching the ball and the second player comes down with it, normally the mark is played.
Colbert had the ball down, taken by Hudson, gives it across to Dimartina, being quiet today. Pickering had a terrific first half. 15 possessions, the ball goes wide to Mensch. It's also been a star, back to Riccardi, the ball carrier. Kicked a great goal in the second term, down towards the half-forward line, the skipper Stonham. Here's the pace coming through there was Snell, bundled over, but the free kick is coming back. It was against Stonham, and it's going to Ellis. He's on the half-back flank. 54 plays, 53. Turley, true centre-half back position. Kicks the ball up towards the half-forward line. Hall now against Hudson. He's beaten Hudson. Runs inside 50. Scores a level.
Should have steadied a bit. He didn't know the time clock was ticking down to inside. Just a few seconds to go, KB.
Well, I think at half-time, for both sides going with the scores level, pretty true indication of the game.
Well, yes, Bulldogs had a terrific first 10 minutes, and thereafter Geelong have pegged them back, and they got on level terms, and now it's been very even for this second half of the second quarter. So this is just a terrific game of football, both sides competing hard.
Sanderson in the right back pocket. Martin on the mark. There's the siren. Chris Grant, interestingly, takes the mark where he was disallowed what appeared to be a certain grab in the first quarter, but it will be to no avail, and we will go in with the scores dead level at half-time after the Western Bulldogs led by 18 points at the first change, but all the plaudits of the second quarter must go to the Cats. Scores level as we start the second quarter of a thriller at Kardinia Park. Romero and Lynch, the former getting run over, and he's going to get a free kick. Jose Romero, 7 kicks. Number 8 drops a little bit short. Not really what they wanted. Mansfield, easy mark over Ellis. Transferring play to Mensch, who's been good. Centres it. Kolonyuk did well. Opens it up for Garlick. Garlick at midfield. Wobbly kick. Grant, didn't give him a chance at all. Grant let one go. Accidental. And he may have his number taken. He has.
I don't think he'll have anything to worry about there. He got a bad bounce for the ball.
Went back to hit it.
Looked like he tried to knock it onto me, Lee.
Yes, interesting bit of vision.
Just Peter, just quickly, when I said the wind had turned around, the wind is now favouring Geelong to the left of the screen.
Yeah,
so Geelong have got it for 2 quarters in a row.
Colbert. It's it out to Pickering. It's out of bounds. Effectively Sanderson.
Luke Darcy and James Cook on the interchange bench for the Bulldogs.
Boundary throw in centre wing. Well, they all missed it. Hudson a chance. Couldn't get clear. Geelong's tackling in the second quarter was a feature of their game. And they really lifted after halfway through the first quarter. It's going to be another ball up. Score still level. No addition to the half-time total.
Interesting setup. There's 2 players of either side in the forward goal squares, 1 each on the half-forward lines, and everyone else is a big pack in the middle of the ground.
Weira was all tied up by Burns. Loose ball picked up by Romero. Short kick back to Scotty Wine. Those quick hands didn't come off. Ronnie Burns feigned the hand pass. Gave it across here to Simpson. Tried to find Bitterscombe. West does well. Got his body in front of the ball. Johnson has been handy across half-back and wing. He's also kicked a great goal. Kicks inside 50. Grant has just been reported. Rockets the ball to Kolonyuk. Runs in from 30 metres out. Backing back. Good grab by Riccardi.
Been solid back there, Riccardi.
Goes short, needing a kind bounce as McGrath gets really good support from his teammates.
Holding decision, free kick.
So it's going to Sanderson, who was shepherding Garlick so McGrath could come through. Sanderson from the half-back line, looking for Stonham, who was held. Been so good today, Barry Stonham.
It's one advantage the taller player has, that the shorter player is scared of being outreached and tries to be too conscious of the opposition body. Although there was the opposition jumper he was conscious of.
Cameron has been on him for most of the day. And in a very interesting matchup, Lynch from the edge of the centre square, kicks long, looking for Milburn. He's got it, the youngster. There's some big raps on Milburn. Had glandular fever last year. Good size. They've had King down on the forward line. They've had Roberts, Milburn, Stonham. He goes short, finds Mensch. He's been a surprise packet in the ruck today.
He's
so
capable
mobile.
of getting a lot of the ball on certain days and certain occasions, isn't he?
Kicks the ball long with the breeze behind him. Stoneham's got the set. Again, too tall lead.
Well, as I say, Craig Ellis is the logical opponent, I would have thought, for Barry Stoneham, but Craig Ellis started on interchange. Now he's up in the forward line, and it's not that Stoneham has absolutely blitzed Geelong, but I think it's his 7th mark, and just that height, just the ability to outreach in this part of the ground, close to goal.
Yeah, 3 of them, Lee, have been within about 10 metres of goal, haven't they?
Yeah, right on those goal line goals where he's just outstretched his shorter opponent.
Stoneham from directly in front, puts the Cats in front.
Yes, those are always a vital. When it's close at half-time, it's always a vital goal at the start of the 3rd quarter, and Geelong have got it. Bit of a flurry and a play for this first 5 minutes before finally, again, we'll just see if the Bulldogs persist with this matchup, or whether eventually Craig Ellis gets recalled to play centre-half back again.
Barry Stoneham, one of the stars, 10 possessions, 7 marks, and capping it off there with a goal to put Geelong in front by 6 points early in the 3rd quarter. Wine, the 92 Brownlow medalist, loses after hocking. Mansfield getting run down. Advantage rule played. The Bulldogs a chance to get the quick reply. Grant has had his number taken. Shepherd's for Collingwood, centering kick, and the mark is there to Smith. By Grant Vernon is to tell Riccardi where the mark is.
Just a bit unlucky then, wasn't he? Mansfield didn't have eyes on the back of his head, held onto the ball, lifted his eyes, but the tackler got him from behind, and I think Craig Ellis is coming back to play on Barry Stoneham, as one would have thought should have happened maybe from the start of the game.
Can't argue with that. That's a goal. Scores level again. Smith kicks his first.
Yes, he's always that matchup down there. Smith, you always thought he might look dangerous against Riccardi down there, but really it all came from the turnover. He's just unlucky, Riccardi, here, that when the free kick was played, the holding the ball was played, the quick kick forward dropped short, and really he got to the front position, Smith, and the percentages are the kicks will drop short when they're those quick snaps.
Scores a level at Kardinia Park.
And Barry Stoneham, blood rule again. Umpire off the play has spotted another little bit of bleeding there.
Lee, the pleasing thing, though, with Barry Stoneham's point of view is that at least he's showing some midfield characteristics. He took that mark on the half-back side of wing and then followed up and took the mark in the forward pocket to kick that goal. So he's covering a lot of territory.
He's looking a yard quicker than I've seen him for a few years flying.
Yeah, look, he is. I think it's all confidence. It's getting the miles into the legs over training, because he's just had so many interruptions over the last 18 months to 2 years with that broken legs and infections and problems. So good luck to him.
Mensch versus Wind at the centre bounce. Mensch down towards Pickering, who was held. No free kick on this occasion. West bursts out of the centre square. Down towards centre half forward. Here's Grant. Couldn't quite take it on the chest. Collingwood goes to ground. Cameron from right on 50 kicks a ripper goal.
I think the interesting passage of play apart from the goal, free kicks to both sides that were let go by the umpire.
Yes, well, I thought, Gary Hopkins seemed like he was pulled off the ball, but the umpire was pretty close to it and he let it go. That was it. Well, gee, that's a free kick.
Now there's another one coming up here. There.
Well, I think that free kick was paid.
I think that was paid.
The advantage was allowed for the Bulldogs to go on and kick the goal.
So the Bulldogs hit the front again. Terrific goal kick by Cameron. 10-6 to 9-6. A real game of footy here at Kardinia Park. Wirra, Liberatore, over 160 consecutive games now. Libba played number 200 last week. Stoneham still on the sideline. Wirra gives it to Johnson. Stoneham, I notice, has a gash on the side of his cheek. That's the blood rule problem. Colbert, long hand pass, good and effective. Pickering dragged down. Bitterston takes another one. On to Sanderson. Sanderson from left half back. Kicks to a contest. Stoneham Back on the ground, punches from Ellis. Wind.
Great chase
Ramiro.
by Barry Stonham, wasn't it?
Yep.
Biddiscombe. They share it around. Pickering. This way, that way. Oh, great delivery. The Cats certainly looking good. Simpson. Oh, got a push in the back from West. The umpire lets it go. Great tackling. A feature of Geelong's play since the second quarter.
And while that flurry of play was going on, Lynch had got on his own in the half-forward line for Geelong, but the Geelong players just couldn't quite see him to get the ball to him.
Ball jarred free in that tackle. So it's back to the centre. Umpire Vernon will put it down with about 20 players at least around it. Wine wins it. Can't really clear the zone. Chance for the Cats through Pickering. Mansfield through some very heavy congestion. Michael Mansfield now kicks to a contest. Stonham again! Playing the blinder is Barry Stonham. Mark number 8. 8 kicks, 2 hand passes and 8 marks.
And I think importantly, probably 6 of those marks have been in a genuine contest. That kind of mark, the ball's kicked up, he just was able to outbody and outposition Ellis. He's outreached Cameron on that occasion. He just outbodied Ellis. He's
kicked 1 goal too, Barry Stonham. Fluky breeze, basically behind him. He kicks from just outside 50. He's now kicked 1 goal, 3. Certainly deserved better. A great mark and one of Geelong's best today. Both red heads, McGrath and Stonham starring. Let's have a look at that again. Terrific use of the body.
He just was able to read the flight of the ball that much better, wasn't he, Pete?
Bulldogs by 5 points. Dent to bring the ball back into play. Kicks to the outer side of the ground. Stonham might be the contest again. He's got it. Well, he is killing the Bulldogs. This is a great performance by Barry Stonham. Cats last week were called pathetic by their coach. This is young Roberts from North Adelaide, just in his second season, goes back, finds Stonham. They share the ball around.
10 marks.
But I agree with you, Lee. This is the best I've seen Barry Stonham move for a long time. Big bomb to the goal square. Ellis was the high flyer off hands. And they'll throw it back in just 15 metres around from the Cats' goal. There's Dimatina on the boundary line, ready to come back into the action. Been out of touch today. Big chance for the Cats. Milburn over the top. Wine stood his ground in front, drags the ball underneath. Ooh, lucky not to be pinged.
Yeah, I reckon if King hadn't fallen all over him, he might have been pinged, because he did dive on the ball, but King basically fell on top of him, so I think that probably caused the ball up.
Still a chance for Geelong. Wine got his hands on the ball first. Lynch, quick snap, out on the full.
Losing decision again by Terry Wallace to have Chris Grant playing at full forward. I didn't think that he was so bad across centre forward. Colbert was holding him, but I always thought Grant looked like he might break clear at any moment.
Curley's loose on the half-back flank. Time to take a casual bounce, kicks the ball to space. McGrath reads it well. We'll get plenty of support. A loose player at centre half-back. Chipped it across and finds Sanderson. So now the full transfer takes place to Mensch. Edge of the centre square. Feeds the ball off to Simpson. Gives it back to Sanderson from half-back. This is a great kick, and King's got it. The Cats come forward. It's a poor kick. Stonham that time, caught out of position, been taken by Croft. So the Bulldogs on the rebound, find Freddie Hook. Half-back flank.
I don't think Liam Pickering would be too happy with that effort. A little bit underdone, as we may have thought before the match. West
still had 15 possessions and 3 marks, Liam Pickering. That was about his first mistake.
Being hypercritical, KB, isn't it? Cats with their trails up, especially this guy, Stonham. Back it comes to Pickering. Can he do something with this one? Down to full forward. Croft and Snell. He's got him and out of bounds. That was the best result that the Bulldogs could have hoped for there. Bulldogs clinging desperately to a 5-point lead. We approach the halfway mark of the third term. The sun comes out. Left forward pocket for Geelong. Wine goes defensively. Southern missed it. Curley. Another good run out of defence. Tries to draw a player to him. Can't do so. Kicks long up towards centre wing. McGrath. Good tackle. He went into the Bulldog bench there, Leon Cameron.
Peter, Lee mentioned that he was surprised that Grant was at full forward. Maybe the coaching committee still think that there's a bit of a breeze heading towards the right of the screen, because generally if the wind is favouring that side, you have your best player down in the goal square to get that added advantage.
Certainly from up here doesn't look too much, but you're down on the ground, Fly. Dent and Bitterscombe fight for it. Pickering again, using muscle, can't get clear of Scotty West. Ball up
Just to
centre.
confirm that, Fly, I mean, it looks like a cross breeze. It's really not favouring either end at this point. It's very gentle anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's really swirling around. It's not all that strong at all, so there's no real advantage as it was in the first half.
Kilpatrick for, I think it was Bitterscombe that went off. Minch and Wind, Croft, the fullback, taken high. Wirra, West, good shepherd by Liberatore to keep Milburn out. Cameron marks at centre field. Bulldogs really need to reassert their supremacy. Romero in front of Lynch, but the Cats have found something since quarter time. Cameron, a real worm burner. Hudson looks for a hand pass. Clever knock on. Romero gives it back to Hudson. They just can't pierce the defence. Liberatore finally into the goal square. Still they can't take a mark. Kilpatrick over Johnson. Great smother. Kilpatrick again. Butters up. Mensch. Kilpatrick keeps saying it, but he's still there. Garlick across goal. Beautifully delivered. There's a free kick though. And it may be... It's going to the Bulldogs to Wine.
Typical umpiring decision that the umpire didn't know whether to allow the advantage, and as soon as he thought about it, well, then he brought the kick back. As it was, he's probably penalised the Bulldogs, but in that instantaneous decision, that was where the free kick was originally paid.
Wine goes short, and that's effective. Grant's taken the mark, but he's on a worse angle. He's right in the forward pocket, and you can see extremely close to the boundary line. That's what he's shooting at. If he goes to the Reg Hickey stand end of the ground with the shot, which he will. Will he have one, or will he centre the ball? Not too many options open for him, though. Polonyuk's there, but pretty closely manned up.
It's a great shot, isn't it? We can really follow the line of the kick.
Grant, distance won't be a problem for him. 40 metres out. Pretty close to the man on the mark. Oh, gee, that's a great kick. Terrific kick from Chris Grant. Goal. So a mixed quarter for him, Barney. Great goal, but he's been reported.
Yes, well, yes, the reporter before, but playing in the full forward line position now. But that was the kick of really a very good player. It's such an important stage of the game. They're not getting a lot of shots, the Bulldogs, but he really didn't look like missing that. They were straight through, and all of a sudden they're out to an 11-point margin.
Bulldogs answering the challenge. They lead by 11 points, 72 to 61. Chris Grant has got his first goal. He's also been reported in this third term. Scotty Wine again falls on top of the ball along with Kilpatrick. Again, they'll ball it up.
Terry Wallace is actually Danny Southern is now out to play on Stonham. He's had a couple of opponents today, Stonham, troubling the Bulldogs.
Wine just plucks it out of the air. Tries to feed it out. Kilpatrick thought he was held. West just thumps the ball on, then ricochets back into his arms. Scotty West, midfield playmaker for the Bulldogs, kicks the ball down. The high flyer was Colbert. Grant's got it.
Oh, that came off Colbert's hands, didn't it?
Well, he's paid it.
I thought.
Colbert took the big leap from behind, got his hands on the ball, and came down into Grant.
Well, Chris Grant would probably think he's had a few things go against him today.
Yeah,
So he could afford to smile.
Nice to have a bit of luck. Have a look. Oh, that was definitely no mark. That was off Colbert's hands, no doubt about it.
Colbert, hands on head. Chris Grant will be kicking from outside 50. He's gone back a long, long way. This is a very long run up by Chris Grant. 55 metres out. Distance is right to the line. And Croft wants to claim it on the goal line.
He has.
And it's been paid.
Now again, we talk about this often. This is the thinking man's goal. If he can't lay it off, he really just has to take his time. And the umpire is certainly allowing Brent Sanderson pretty close to actually cut him off if he comes inside, tries to open up the angle.
So Croft Tries to check side, kicks it straight across the face of goals, out of bounds on the full.
Kicked it like a real defender, didn't he? First kick and attack today. Colbert. Sanderson. He'll have to do it again. Umpire Grant Vernon being a little bit pedantic. Colbert in the back pocket.
They need a goal, Geelong, don't they? All of a sudden, their scoring is dried up in this last 10 minutes.
King and Wine. King takes the mark. Push out. Free kick Bulldogs. A good quarter, Scott Wine. Gives it off to Johnson. Raking pass. Grant doesn't drop those. Terrific lead and mark. The Bulldogs reasserting the supremacy that they enjoyed in the first part of the first quarter. And 3 shots now within a couple of minutes from Chris Grant, all from about 50 metres. The goal was a little bit less. Again, he's gone back a long way. He's gone back about 30 metres from where the man on the mark is standing, at least. Another long run up. He's not going to get too close to the man on the mark this time. He'll kick from about 48 metres. And what's he done with that one? Goal umpire comes in and says 1 behind. So Chris Grant, 1 goal, 2 to him. One of those shots at that end of the first quarter hit the post when he was on his own. He should have kicked the goal. So the difference is back to 12 points, 9-7 to 11-7.
2 straight kicks. Riccardi to bring the ball back in. Kicks the ball. Good 65-70 metres. The fist away that time came from Hudson. They were looking for Milburn. Scott West gives the ball across to Johnson. It's a quick snap. Backing back is Sanderson. Kicks the ball wide. This is a dangerous kick. King's got 2 to beat. Croc from behind. Ball just hitting the line there was Simpson. And they'll toss it back in to Martina on screen. 73 plays 61 as Luke Darcy warms up to come back into the action. Scores were level at half-time. The Bulldogs lead by 18 points at quarter-time. And now lead by 12. Scott Wine, certainly damaging player in this third term. Liberatore took it from Dimatina, back to Hudson right on 50. He's already booted 2, dropping short. McGrath punches it over the line. So the Cats' defence now under a lot of pressure. I think it's fair to say, Lee, in the last 10 minutes, the Bulldogs have been well on top.
Yeah, they have. They've missed a few shots, but Geelong haven't got any run at the moment. All of a sudden, they're just looking like there's not a lot of movement and run through the midfield.
Colbert was all tied up. Bitterscombe gets the ball out to Pickering. Looked like it was caught high. The advantage has been paid. Riccardi thumps the ball out wide. Hocking hasn't had a great influence on the game today. Crashed into by Danny Southern and also Barry Stoneham. Now a free kick.
Yes,
back to Jose.
Hocking just nudged Ramiro as he was mouthing off at the umpire. The umpire, that was enough for the umpire to give Ramiro the free kick. Not a lot in it, but just enough. Don't give the umpire a chance to play a free kick against you. That's the principle.
Ramiro from centre wing. Mansfield again was the high flyer. Bitterscombe measured his handball, gives it across to McGrath, who just stumps the ball back, but it's all the Bulldogs. And Croft has been all over the field in this third term. Back to Ramiro, trying to set it up out of defence. Johnson, who's had a very good game, too much carry on the ball. Kilpatrick with strength, just rolled the shoulders, got rid of West. Back to Pickering, who's been good in his first game for the year. Lynch, the high flyer, pushed out that time by Ramiro at ground level. Lynch does well, weaves it out to Mensch, puts it to space, needing the bounce was Snell, couldn't get it. Credial in control across half back. Again to Croft, so the Bulldogs come away.
Croft's kick, as you said, he's been, Martin, all over the ground. Spent a bit of time on the bench today, Michael Martin. He's quick, not the greatest of kicks you'll ever get rid of. Geelong with numbers, getting flung out is Smith. Crowd looking for a free kick. Riccardi, long left footer, a raking kick up towards half forward. Cameron in front of Mensch, couldn't complete the mark. Hall tries to give it back to him. Mensch looking for options. Crediot well tackled by Hall. Ramiro off a standing start. Boots it back up towards midfield. Smith mark, free kick, whatever. Dimatina in front of Simpson. to West. Can the Bulldogs get another one? West straight down the centre of the ground. Grant, good mark. What a duel this is. Chris Grant starting to get on top there.
Well, we questioned whether full forward was the position early in the quarter, but I think the answer has been yes, because certainly as this game has developed, coming out from that full forward line, the ability to get on the lead and then the height to be able to sort of leap high. So his height that he's marking the ball makes it impossible for Colbert to be able to run with Grant on those kind of surging leads.
So yet another kick by Chris Grant at round about the 50-metre mark. He's kicked 1 goal, 2 today. And those 2 behind, one of which was a poster. He's now got 2 goals too, Chris Grant. So the Bulldogs go ahead again, 18 points, and that was the margin at quarter time when they led 5-4 to 2-4. The Cats have hit the front, but the Bulldogs now reasserting their supremacy that they enjoyed early in the match.
And really, once we got this possession, once Smith got the ball from this part of the ground, Dimatuna was on, it was over to West. Have a look at this for a pass, just put it out in front of Grant, ran into the line, jumped to its full extension, marked it comfortably.
Chris Grant looking very dangerous. Good at 2 goals in this term. It's also been reported. Listen to the Geelong fans. I reckon they've been hard done by. And again, Credial and Croft, they do a great job week in and week out. Now the free kick is going to Mensch against Ellis. So it's been reversed. And Credial just hangs his head. He can't believe it.
Well, I think it is fair to say, in fact, the doubtful umpiring decisions mostly have favoured the Bulldogs today. It happens that way in games, so something to actually slightly doubtful to go to Geelong is only poetic justice.
Mensch directly in front. Pushed it left. Bulldogs have kicked 4 goals in this quarter to the Cats 1, which is a turnaround from the second term.
And
Geelong
KB
booted 6 goals to 3.
KB,
Yes,
all those, most of those, 3 of those goals have been taken from marks in the Bulldogs forward line, whereas in that second term they struggled to even get a mark on the forward line. Their 3 goals just came from either a free kick or just a scrambly play.
Johnson finds Dimatuna between half-back and centre wing. Been on the bench, he's picked up a few kicks as he's come on. Here's Ellis, spent a lot of the game also on interchange. Been up forward, now in defence, kicks the ball wide to Croft, who's been fantastic. Unawares that he was about to be tackled, so the kick's a poor one. Now can the Cats make the Bulldogs pay? Sanderson kicks the ball wide to Hall, chips the ball back to Kilpatrick, and again a poor kick. And this man Credial, it's either Credial or Croft across half back to Ellis, finds Martin in the centre of the ground. The Bulldogs looking the goods in the 3rd term. He stood a great challenge in that second quarter, but they're on top, and this man all of a sudden looks a match winner.
He's just emerged, hasn't he, as this 3rd quarter has developed, Grant, giving them a real good target in the forward line now, does he, for the Bulldogs?
8 marks, 10 kicks.
Bulldogs by 17 points. Just under 3 minutes of action left in this 3rd term, so he kicks a long bomb. He's looking for Darcy, caught behind. Collingwood was at ground level. Riccardi pinched it. Feeds the ball back out to Mansfield. The kick's a shocker. Been marked by Martin. So danger here for the Cats. Martin centres the ball. Coming across in front was Kilpatrick. He's got the free.
Kilpatrick at centre half back, or short of that position, over to Milburn. Now on the mark, Milburn a chance for a bounce. Low trajectory pass out towards centre wing. Now Simpson's got the mark. Geelong supporters were looking for 50. But Dimatuna's infringement wasn't that bad, according to the umpire. Southern tried to punch. West centres it. Hocking missed it. Johnson doesn't. Johnson. Kolanyuk has been paid the mark. Right at midfield, near the centre circle. Under 2 minutes remaining to 3/4 time, so a vital period of play. Liberatore. Shepherd's for Martin. Martin right on the boundary line at right half forward. Grant and McGrath. Down to Colbert. Crashes his way through. Gives it back to McGrath. Kilpatrick on the outer side. Riccardi runs with him. He says keep going. He will. Couple of bounces. Can Geelong set something up?
All Bulldogs forward.
Oh. Croft should punch and does. Still he goes, Croft. Missed it. Snell. Stonham. Back to Snell. Pickering was in there too in that chain of hand passes. Oh, Geelong player being held. Must be a free kick. Burns will take it. Radwira, a silly free kick, and Burns at point-blank range.
I think he had no choice, Pete. He knew that Burns was going to outpace him, so it was a hold on to the jumper and hope that the umpire doesn't see it, because if he hadn't, Burns would have just ran onto the loose ball and ran into the open goal. So, there's a professional free kick, KB.
Yes, but one would think Ronnie Burns should kick this goal.
Should nail it from 30 metres, and he does. Just what the Cats wanted close to three-quarter time.
It's kick two.
Yes, they needed that to keep the game alive. What Geelong are struggling with at the moment is to get any run out of their midfield. When they come forward out of defence, they tend to look up, and all there is Bulldogs players across their own half-forward line, because their midfielders at the moment haven't really got the run to get through to run into the forward spaces. On the contrary, when the Bulldogs go forward, the Wests and the Ramiros, even the Liberatories, they're getting forward hard enough to become usable as link man in and around the half-forward line.
McGrath has gone back onto Chris Grant, and Colbert's gone to the half-forward line. Credior has picked him up. Croft and Credior in this third term have been tremendous across half-back for the Bulldogs. Polynuk, just seconds remaining in this third term. Cats might have one last gasp. Get the ball up into their forward line. Taken by Mensch, who's been a very good player. Runs through the centre square. Just tumbles the ball forward. There he is. Credior.
Got the magnet on. Colbert into the half-forward line. They need to get someone. They need someone to help Barry Stoneham across half-forward. Colbert's the man who's got the nod.
Johnson. To Garlick, back to Johnson. Back to Garlick. The siren sounds. Got a tremendous last quarter coming up at Kardinia Park. 79 plays, 68. Bulldogs by 11 points. And we just saw Critic on screen. Cross half-back along with Matthew Croft. They were just about impassable.
Yes, they seem to be letting their Geelong players go upfield and creating the wall across halfback. And as I mentioned, they didn't have enough run in their legs, the Geelong team as a group, so therefore they had to run and kick it. They weren't able to carry the ball forward, and so often the Bulldogs just were outnumbering them on the fall of the ball at halfback.
11 points the difference at three-quarter time. The stage is set for a thriller. Don't go away. 11 points the margin, 20 minutes of football left. Can Geelong come back, or will the Bulldogs make it 4 wins straight to start season 1998? Wind against King now. A centre square infringement.
Going to Geelong.
Cardinal sin in footy. King, haven't seen too much of him today. Kilpatrick takes the mark. Hudson late on the scene. It into the pocket. West missed it. Bitterscombe takes the hand pass from Snell into the other pocket. Bulldogs player got a decent old heave-ho. It's rushed through for one behind. So the difference is back to 10 points.
Got an unusual matchup. Ben Graham hasn't really got an opponent at the moment of his dimensions. At the moment, Paul Hudson's his direct number and a ground level mobility. That'll be a problem for Geelong. I'm sure Gary Ayres is just having a think about how he changes that around.
Lee, on that point, it's a bit of cat and mouse between Wallace and Ayres, because every time Graham goes on, Wallace pulls a short man onto him, so it's just trying to upset that team balance.
Ellis has taken the mark just up from the back pocket onto Wirra, who gave away that goal with a free kick to Ronnie Burns close to three-quarter time. Kickers a reel up and under job. Garlick got two hands to it, couldn't drag it down. Chance for West. Gang tackled almost. Bitterscombe, good gather son. Martin's kick, or Martin couldn't get to him, and Lynch takes the mark. Who's been good today, Paul Lynch. Took a very courageous mark early in the game. Burns makes a lead. Leads into the pocket, though. That takes a very, very good grab. Ronnie Burns may make it successive goals to the Cats. As I said, he kicked that one with the free kick just prior to three-quarter time.
Grants wasn't as difficult as this before, but these are the kind of goals that make the difference between winning or just getting close.
He's right out over the boundary line. kicks inaccurately and off the hands of the pack four under the rush behind to the Cats. So they've done all the scoring to start the final quarter. 9 points the margin.
He's kicked 2 goals, Ronnie Burns. The goal in the second term and also the third quarter. Cats trail by 9 points.
It was fantastic last year, Ronnie Burns. 50-odd goals, by far the highest goal tally of any of those little goal sneak type players. Didn't finish the year off exceptionally well, but certainly a tremendous first half.
Won the goal kicking here.
This year he has been playing further up the ground just to try and get away from the tagger. Taken out of the air by Graham. Just thumps the ball back inside 50, so a chance for the Cats. The high flyer in front. Couldn't take it. Good tackling by Lynch as well. Still a loose ball. Talbot thought he had it, lost it. Picked up by Buddha, hocking around the corner. It's going to land in the square. Stonham can kick it off the ground. Hooks the ball in, then pushes it through. Comes off the post for a minor score.
Yes, he was getting ready to throw the foot of the ball, Barry Stone, and try and sock it off the ground, but he couldn't quite get the ball in the right position. Good defensive play too by Alice Southern to make sure it went through.
Keeley again to bring the ball back.
They need a goal, don't they? They've had the shots at the moment, but just can't get that shot at goal or that 6 points on the board.
It's an 8-point ball game in favour of the Bulldogs. Scotty Wine just taps the ball on. Hudson gives the ball across to Crediuk, who hits towards the boundary line. He's happy to see it go over. Lynch is disappointed.
Geelong doing all the attacking at the start of the final term. Haven't yet registered a goal, though. A couple of rush behinds. Just over a kick in it. Wine thumps the ball back once it came out of bounds again, so the boundary umpire once more will throw it in.
This is where the fresher man, King's the fresher player. He didn't ruck for much of the first half. Scott Wine's been rucked majority of the day. Just see whether that extra freshness means for anything in this latter part of the game.
Still Wine. You'd think there were only about 10 seconds left in the match. Very defensive tactics, but unable to find or give it to a rover.
He's not giving it much oomph, this boundary umpire. He's not going a long way in. That's better.
King gets front posse. Tried to find Lynch. Johnson across his body with the left foot. A contest on centre wing. Sanderson. Bitterscombe. Back to Milburn. And the Bulldogs, well, they're just working it up towards centre wing. It's all you could say. It's pretty unattractive. Now, umpire Harvey, is it? Having a word down there. In fact, it's Derek Humphrey-Smith. Throw in. King off a step. Kicks it to half forward. Action on this side of the ground in the main. Hocking tries to get it away from Martin. He does just that, but once again we're going to see a boundary throw-in. Still 8 points the difference.
Got an interesting situation happening where Lynch is playing across half forward, a marking type player, and Jose Ramiro is picking him up. Unusual matchup. If it becomes a marking situation, well, Lynch will be advantaged.
Wine couldn't get it over the boundary line that time. Hocking Sanderson. Now Johnson. Clear of Simpson. Now some space.
It's an important ball, this one, isn't it?
It is. Oh, Graham gets into the back of his opponent, Cameron. Free kick to the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, it was a one-on-one contest and a lot of space. Whichever team got the ball was going to have a lot of space to kick to.
Cameron looks down, looking for Hudson in front. He's got it. Yeah, it's a silly free kick by Graham. Paul Hudson also kicked 2 goals in the first quarter. It's called to play on. Drills it to Grant.
Great hands.
He was just fantastic in the third quarter. Kicked 2 goals and set up the Bulldogs' lead.
It was. It was going to be a critical ball, and it was. It was the more agile Cameron against the bigger, slower Graham. And Graham just sort of panicked a bit, pushed Cameron in the back, and from that point, all the space was forward. Hudson got himself into a bit of trouble, but Grant was good enough to make the most of a half chance to mark it strongly out in front.
Chris Grant was reported in the third quarter. Also kicked 2 goals. This is an important kick to put the Bulldogs 14 points in front from 45 metres. Grant, the champ. He's got it.
Pressure kick, wasn't it?
Was a pressure kick. Got 5 marks in the third quarter. Grant kicked a couple of goals and a couple of behinds. This is the first time he's looked like. First time, in fact, the Bulldogs have got the ball, I reckon, over the 50-metre mark. And when you've got a great player up forward, Grant, he struggled early, frustrating day in the first half, but has really come through in this second stanza.
Three goals to Chris Grant makes him the leading goal kicker in the match. The Cats adding 3 behinds, and the Bulldogs getting the first goal of the final quarter. King out bustles his opponent Wind. Kick comes down to half forward, knocked away by Southern. And he applies a pretty good tackle then immediately on Paul Lynch to make sure he wasn't going anywhere. 26,301, so a pretty good crowd here today. You'd say a capacity crowd. The improvements still under construction here. King and Wine. Wine, well, won't call it a clean possession really. Sanderson nearly throws it out to Pickering. Time to steady, clear of Garlick, kicks to half forward. Marking contest, well, no contest in the end. Bitterscombe just had too much speed for his opponent. And Bitterscombe from outside 50, a chance to bring up Geelong's first goal of the final quarter. Ronnie Burns on the lead. And Bitterscombe must fancy his chances.
I think slightly into the breeze here from this. This will take a really big kick to make the distance and kick it straight.
From 53 metres or 52 metres. Won't quite make the distance. Hall nearly. But it wasn't Hall, it was Milburn. And a boundary throw in the right forward pocket for the Cats. Only about 15 metres from the behind post.
So a big chance for Geelong. King versus Wind. One out by the youngster. Loose ball went to Ellis, lost it. The tackler Stonham has been very good today. Again, crashing his way through as Dimatina ducked ahead, lost control, dives on top of the ball. They want hold in the ball. It's a loose ball, kicked off the ground by Garlick. Crashing his way through is Kilpatrick. Some fancy footwork, didn't hit a target. Romero back to Danny Southern. They're tough in the clinches, the Bulldogs. West comes away with the ball. He's lost it. There's his partner in crime, backing him up. Liver from the half-back flank. Hugs the boundary line. Looking for Collingwood. It's got Mansfield to beat. Too good. He's on centre wing. He's off the line. Called the play on. Kicks the ball down, looking for Grant. Goes to ground, gets the bounce he's wanted. Chris Grant short. Rowan Smith's out in front. Hugs it to the chest.
Classy play, isn't it? All the instincts on Grant were to centre the ball or even go for goal, but just chip the ball up in front of the leading Smith. So it's an acute angle, but gives the teammate a chance to settle down, have a good look at the goals.
Kicked the goal in the third quarter. Bending it back, not enough. '86 plays 71. Bulldogs by 15 points.
Early in the final quarter. Graham, haven't seen too much of him today. Spent a fair bit of time on the bench. Curley, big leap, big mark. Well, Geelong had plenty of chances in the first few minutes of this term. Now it's the Bulldogs' opportunity. Grant outnumbered 2-1. McGrath, on whom he's been playing a little bit today. McGrath started fantastically in the first quarter. Milburn takes the mark in front of Garlick. Simpson calling forward at midfield. He's going to go down the wing. Stonham, who's been fantastic today, takes another mark in front of Dimatina. Kilpatrick, oh, Mr. Sitter, he was off before he took it really. Simpson, not a great kick. Plenty of opportunities for the Western Bulldogs to clear here. Liberatore in the sprint. Sanderson, he's got him. Mansfield gives it back to him. Sanderson on to Buddha Hocking at right half forward. 60 metres plus from goal. He goes in short, and that's okay. Colbert
Had Stoneham one out against Dimatina, and that one-on-one contest might have been worth a try.
Colbert goes in short. It's come unstuck. Great effort by Romero. Liberatore's tackle ineffective. That doesn't happen often. Burns, where are you gone, son? Umpire calls play on. And having a shot at goal was Lynch, and he puts it through. Three goals to Lynch, 3 goals to he's kicked. The Cats still hang on.
Yeah, they won't lie down, Geelong, but they're just having trouble just getting consecutive goals together. I'm just looking who can they get to get some midfield run. I'm just running with a Peter Riccardi, who's done a pretty good job back there on Rowan Smith. He's worth a move up to midfield because they're battling hard, Geelong, but they need someone, I think, who can carry the ball to break the play open. And just maybe all the eggs in the one basket and get Riccardi upfield.
There's Gary Ayres. The Cats have dragged it back to 9 points. King again against Wine. The Brownlow medalist wins out. They need a bounce. The Cats. Pickering had it. There's West again winning the hard ball. Just tumbles it forward. Collingwood comes out. Lost control. Picked up by Sanderson. Feeds the ball back out to King. Just rockets the ball out wide to Kilpatrick. What's he doing?
It was a hand pass.
It was a hand pass. He thought he marked it. Well, nothing surprises in AFL football these days, Lee. They say a hand pass is as good as a kick. King comes away from centre wing, pops it up. It's a poor kick. Didn't give Stonham much chance. Southern thought he had it, so did I. Wild hand pass, being pinched by Martin. Gives it across to Dimartino, who can run. He's going to be run down by Milburn. Gets his kick in. Here's Grant out in front, pushed under the ball this time by Graham. Picked up by Riccardi. The Cats on the rebound. Heads towards the boundary line.
He wanted it out,
Martin can't get there in time. In the end, it was a very good kick. And they'll toss it back in, centre wing. Peter Riccardi.
I think he's been pretty good back there on Smith, as I said, but I just wonder whether his run up in the midfield, they have to overtake the Bulldogs Geelong, whether Riccardi just might be the one player, the one ball carrier who Geelong could get up in the midfield.
Well, he kicked a great goal in the second quarter.
He did.
Coming down from defence. But Rowan Smith's such a dangerous player for the Bulldogs. They might be a bit low to take Riccardi off him. Hocking, caught high.
Caught without the footy, actually.
So
I reckon if you had an 11-point lead, that'd be okay, but I reckon when you're 11 points behind, halfway through the last quarter, you've really just got to find a way to kick some multiple goals. I mean, Geelong are probably going to have to kick 3 or 4 goals to win the game.
Lynch, the leading goal kicker today, with 3. At half forward, or nearly Brown. Minch. Beautiful delivery. Mansfield is marked well within kicking distance.
Lee, you made the point before about Lynch being a marking forward. He just took that mark, kicked the goal before.
I'm not sure why Ramiro was back there on Lynch. It seems a very strange matchup. Ramiro's at his best in the centre square, not as a halfback. That just seems like a strange pairing to me.
So Mansfield a chance to become the 9th Geelong player to kick a goal today. Paul Lynch, as I mentioned, their leading goal kicker. He's missed it. Gee, that would have been a telling blow. Only one behind.
Yes, you've got to take your chances. As I say, Geelong just don't look like kicking goal after goal after goal, but they've had a few shots early in this last quarter
and
that have resulted in behinds.
The battle of the Hawthorn, Hawthorn coaches, ex-Hawthorn players who are coaching. Curley, Minch in front, Geelong with the numbers, Milburn, Stoneham, nearly.
Oh,
that's a great tackle by Simpson. Geelong fans asking umpire Vernon why it's not going to be rewarded, as Dimartino was well and truly pinned.
I reckon 2 more steps with the ball, it might have been prior opportunity. Have a look at this, the handbasket goes astray. He has a couple of steps with the ball, but didn't quite really break the first tackle to have had opportunity.
Good smother there by Hudson. Stoneham's kick. Milburn. Tap on. Ramiro. Southern. Bitterscombe's got him. Holding decision. Western Bulldogs free kick. Jose Ramiro takes it. Ramiro out wide. This time Dimartino won't be pinned. He's at left half back, trying to give the Bulldogs some drive out of defence. Went past Martin. A marking contest on centre wing. Hudson, great grab over Brown. Brown playing only his 2nd game since 1996. Paul Hudson started well. Not a great kick to Grant. Almost got a little bit of a nudge there in the back. The umpire lets it go. Treading hook. Bitterscombe cannons into him. Geelong players looking for a holding the ball decision. There is none. It'll be a ball up right on the edge of the square.
86 plays 78. The Bulldogs by 8 points. Dent warming up on the boundary line. It's a ball up. Front edge of the centre square for the Bulldogs. Wine gives away the free kick. A look of disgust. Minch has been very good today.
And the Geelong defence is all coming out, but can they get into space?
Stoneham's the target. He's really let him down today. This time the ball at ground level. Garlick gives it back to Liberatore. Feeds it off to Johnson, who's been a runner. Kicks the ball deep in the forward line. Grant. They They look so dangerous when they kick the ball to Grant.
Absolutely. Well, the Geelong defence, I should say, tried to run out when Mensch got that free kick. But when they turned the ball over, when Mensch's kick was in fact lost by Geelong and the ball was rebounded off this midfield half-back area, then all the space was forward and Grant had plenty of time and space to move into the area. The kick was out in front, pretty simple execution.
Have you ever seen anybody go back so far from the man on the mark? He's about 40 metres away.
He's got a good, he's probably running in a good 25 metres, getting himself on the straight line.
If Grant can pop this through, the Bulldogs will lead by 14 points. It's hit the post.
Second time today.
Three goals, four. He certainly had some shots, Chris Grant, in the second half.
78 to 87. Milburn, big climb. Quiddiok knock on. Kilpatrick. Mensch decides to have a bounce. Gives it back to Kilpatrick. West kept at bay. Still Kilpatrick. Long raking kick in towards full forward. Ellis got a boot to it. And the ball thumped away by Curley. Out of bounds for a throw-in in Geelong's right forward pocket.
Yes, well, we spoke about early Mensch, that's his 21st possession. He's been pretty good. He's been competitive in the ruck and he's been very agile at ground level against Scott Wine. So that matchup, that duel has been good thinking, good tactical manoeuvring by Gary Ayres.
King and Wine, won by the latter, but can't clear the zone. Opportunity for Burns. Left foot snapshot is going close. A wrestle. Curley again. Same punch, same result. The throw in this time a little bit closer to goal. It's a real nail-biter. And over 26,000 fans roaring themselves hoarse here today. Terrific game of footy. It was billed as the match of the round, and it's lived up certainly to its billing. Lynch, a little kick out in front of goal. Mansfield, can he make amends? A snap. Has he bent it enough? I think he's bent it too much. He's kicked it behind.
Pretty dangerous down there, Mickey Mansfield, as a full forward line player, fast leading target. It just couldn't quite turn onto his left foot there. He had to kick it right foot. If he'd been able to come back onto his left side, fair chance he would have been able to hook that through.
You're right, Lee. Got blocked on the left side. Bulldogs by 8 points. Jose Ramiro from the half-back flank, directing traffic. Kicks the ball, looking for Danny Southern. Bitterscombe and Mensch. Great mark by
That is a
Bitterscombe.
jump, isn't it? That is a jump.
Well, he had the set.
They're clearing the centre square, Geelong, but he didn't look across.
Bitterscombe drives the ball long. He's looking for Stonham. He's going to get late on the scene, caught from behind.
Got to look inside. When you're caught on the wing, it's always worth looking into the centre square. If there's teammates alone, that really opens up the forward line if you can go from outside in.
Johnson did well to stand his ground in front from the true centre-half back position. Colbert and Mensch, they can raffle it. Off hands, Martin feeds it back to Quiddiok, who's been very good. Kicks the ball to space. This is a wonderful kick, finds Collingwood. It's a good 55 metres out. The lead is on. Looking for Darcy, needs the bounce. He's been held by McGrath. No free kick. McGrath comes away from half-back. Again, Colbert could be the target. Grant got a hand of the ball. They'll toss it back.
Very similar to the free kick that Lonnie Burns got late in the third quarter, wasn't it?
Exactly. There's Chris Grant on screen. He's booted 3 goals. It's been reported. It's been a big afternoon. It's been a star at full forward. Went there in that third term. Kicked a couple of quick goals. Scotty Wine just tumbles the ball forward. Coming out and hitting the ball hard is Riccardi. Then thumps the ball back towards the edge of the centre square. Ronnie Burns is there. Backing back was Colbert. We're got a hand on the ball. Comes to West. Danger now for the Cats. A big play in front of the goals. Riccardi goes to the ground. Loose ball kicked off the ground by Hudson. He's at the goal square. Yes, he's got it.
Probably the most crucial turnover of the day, Lee.
Well, given there's only a few minutes to go, he was under pressure, Kilpatrick, and the backward hand pass straight to West. I guess West called for the ball. Have a look at this here. He has a look. Oh, no, wrong jumper. And imagine the feeling in Glenn Kilpatrick's mind at the time and still now.
Paul Hudson kicking his third goal for the day. Wind still leaping high. The two Brownlow medalists combined. Liberatore up towards half forward. Kick off the ground by McGrath is out of bounds on the full, and that will result in the penalty kick to be taken down there by Michael Martin.
And Kilpatrick's been interchanged as we're talking and this play goes on.
Smith tried to get it Liberatore. Hocking off the ground. Wearer from behind. We'll get it back from his skipper, Wine. Kurdiuk, as KB said, has been pretty good today. He's been very solid in the air and on the ground. McGrath backs his judgment. At the back is Darcy. Tries to get it to a teammate in Smith. The Cats aren't done yet. And going down is Sanderson as he got rid of that. Free kick up the field, actually, the umpire played. Milburn kicks to a contest on centre wing. The Cats win that contest. They've got the numbers. Paddle further forward by Colbert. Corrigan, surely Ellis has given away a free kick for in the back. He has. And you better give it back pretty quickly. Otherwise, there'll be a 50-metre penalty. And so Corrigan to take the free kick. This is what it was for. No doubt about that whatsoever. Corrigan at right centre wing. The Cats not done yet. Big leap right on the 50. No mark taken. West. A quick hand pass from Jose Ramiro clears.
Got their big guns across half-back, and West and Jose Ramiro finds Liver, their partner in crime, gives it across to Johnson. The Bulldogs look dangerous. They lead by 14 points. 3.5 minutes left. Pops it out in front. Rowan Smith's got it. That was a great kick. Just ran onto the ball. Didn't have to break stride.
Just able to loop at his full extension from the front position, and once that happened, Riccardi didn't really have the height or the jump to be able to get up that high to spoil.
This for a 20-point lead. Scores were level at half-time. The Bulldogs led by 11 points at three-quarter time. Rowan Smith from right on 50. Well off target.
Out of bounds on the full.
Cats bench. Young Cameron Roberts, Snell, King, Kilpatrick. All they can do is look on.
Time running out for the Cats. Darcy, attempted mark from behind, goes to Corrigan. They've got to make every post a winner from here on in Geelong. That's out of bounds in front of Danny Southern and Barry Stonham. The latter a real star today, Stonham. 12 kicks, 4 hand passes and 11 marks. And still the Bulldogs lead by 14 points. Boundary throw in, outer wing. Mentioned Wind. The latter rucking tirelessly today. Had a little bit of a rest, but not much. Nearly a throw by Hocking. West picks up the crumbs pretty well. The Cats try to work it forward. Pickering gives out the hand pass. Brown will be his first kick today. Paul Brown, almost a forgotten man. Kicks it to the man on the mark. Terrific smother. The Bulldogs defending desperately across half-back. McGrath. Oh, that's a free kick. Surely Brown nearly had his breadbasket taken away. McGrath.
Something in his eyes, Riccardi, then possibly.
And Wearer gives it over to Dent, and Dent will mark in the back pocket.
The Bulldogs can hang on. This will be their best start to a season since 1961 when they won the opening 4. They played the grand final that year, so it could be an omen. Dent goes wide, the loose player is Johnson. Bulldogs by 14 points. Johnson also directing traffic. Hudson wants it short. He's got it. It was across the half-back line. He's booted 3 goals today. 2 in the first term, and that all-important one in these final minutes of this 4th term.
Stonham off.
Stonham off. Well, he's had a big game for the Cats. He's tried hard today. Riccardi flicks the ball out to Hall. It's had little impact. And chipping in is Daniel Southern.
I think Riccardi's in fact up in midfield now. Simpson back on Rowan Smith, but I've got a feeling it might have been 10 minutes too late. Still, it's all theoretical. If it doesn't happen, it's all theory, isn't it, KB?
Well, the Bulldogs have shown today they're a very good side. Krediuk cops one high. No free. Hall. Look at a tackling of Krediuk. West on hands and knees again. Paddles the ball out. Numbers win out for the Bulldogs. Martin with a foot on the accelerator. Moves to top gear. Inside 50. Can he bend it back?
Nearly.
Through for a minor score.
Takes those little short steps, Martin, but he does them very quick. He certainly can cover the ground. Not a long stride, a lot of short little quick steps.
Cats trying desperately, but time's going to beat them. Pickering at a half-back. Dimittina on the mark.
It's a tied kick, wasn't it?
It is. Hall, Krediuk again, overruns it this time. Southern will give it to him. Krediuk's kick out towards centre wing, finds Dimittina. Did he keep it in? The boundary umpire says he did. Over to Johnson. Johnson goes down towards full forward, and Grant, who takes the mark, close to the siren time. He's 65 metres out. Will he have a shot at goal? Might as well.
He's got the breeze at his back. It's going to take a big kick.
Now he can't run around. Barry Stoneham had a shot just before half-time, remember? A lot closer than this, certainly. Grant has kicked 3 goals, 3 or 3-4. Percentage all important, even though it's early season. 55 metres out. But no score. The Western Bulldogs have started the season with 4 wins. And the final scores here at Kardinia Park show the Bulldogs winning 14-10-94, defeating a very gallant Geelong 11-13-79.
This has been a Sports AFL production.
Another season, another 185 games.
Speaking of sensational.
And the only place you'll see every game is Sports AFL.
We'll bring you live and exclusive coverage like you've never seen it before.
Oh, what a grab!
With analysis, camera angles,